It's freezing cold, you're in a blizzard, and your car gets stuck. Stay tuned to Roy on Rescue so you can learn how to stay alive out in the cold. So it sounds like this couple had newly purchased a four-wheel drive, and they had gone around a barricade that basically was warning them not to go into two tracks that were seasonally closed due to large amounts of snow. They felt that they could go out there and actually did go into those two tracks and became stuck in the snow. This was quite a ways away from what we would call civilization, and it sounds like what happened is that the man who was driving got out of the vehicle and left to go try to find help. While this individual was gone trying to find help, the other passenger, a woman, was still left in the vehicle and wrapped herself in insulating blankets. After the man did not return, the woman actually went out of the vehicle and started walking as well. As she was walking back into civilization or trying to find her way to get help, she became hypothermic herself, found herself trapped out in the snow, and was literally eating snow, and it sounds like eating some form of tomatoes of sorts to be able to stay alive for over a week. Tragic story is, as this individual walked to get help, actually came across the gentleman who had died out in the exposure. Family did not give up hope. They kept looking in areas where they believed this couple would have gone out to four-wheel drive and actually found the woman. And though she had frostbite, hypothermia, and malnutrition, obviously, and probably dehydration, she was found alive and is now recovering in a hospital. Some of the things that is important to remember in a situation like this is that pre-planning is key. You know, you can go to any hardware store, sports, athletic shops, and get hand warmers, foot warmers, heating pads, these things that you tear them out, the chemicals mix, and then the next thing you know, it actually begins heating, and you can put those in your gloves, in your shoes, in your coat, under your armpits to help maintain body temperature. When trapped out in the environment where it's cold, remember that the body is working extremely hard to stay warm, and this can lead to dehydration and malnutrition very quickly. It's going to be essential to remember that snow has potentials for bacteria and things like that, but compared to dehydration and dying from dehydration, it's probably going to be worth it to eat and consume snow to keep hydrated. The bigger problem is going to be when the core temperature drops. And believe me, it only takes a couple of degrees. So we're normally at about 99.6 core temperature, 98.6 oral. If we drop 1 to 2 degrees, we begin to become lethargic, have trouble moving, our motor neural and sensory is delayed, and our train of thought becomes fogged, and it's very, very difficult to continue to try to seek rescue. This is where it gets very dangerous. This is when people tend to have to lay down. Their feet are numb, their legs are becoming numb, their hands are numb, they're frostbitten, they're dehydrated, they're lethargic, and they usually then are succumb to the weather, the elements, and they die out in those types of elements. Staying warm is key. So bringing things, extra layers of clothes when you're driving and there's bad weather or it's the winter time, layers of clothing, those extra heating elements that I just talked about that you can grab from any store in the wintertime to help you in case you get cold. If there's nutrition bars that won't freeze, stick those in the vehicle or in a bag as well. Blankets. And then ideally, if you're really going off the beaten trail, even a flare gun would be handy so that you can set up a flare as search parties begin to try to find you. It can be extremely hard, especially if there's coverage from trees to see a vehicle. And if the vehicle's covered in snow, it's almost impossible. These are some of the things to keep in mind proactively before you go into the elements, and keeping that core body temperature is going to be essential. Whenever possible and you're in a more metropolis area, staying with the vehicle is a great way to help stay sheltered from the elements, and especially if you have nutrition, you have warm blankets, you have warmers, you have extra layers of clothes. These things can then be used to help keep you warm until help arrives. Many times venturing out in sub-zero weather with wind chill factors and the elements is where people go wrong. So some things to think about, and especially this story where these people were in the mountains, and unfortunately one individual died. Fortunately, the other was found and is now trying to recover from this incident. From Roy on Rescue, keep on rescuing. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.